And on my right is Vice Chair Commissioner Larry Hudkins and Commissioner Bill Avery. And I am Commissioner Roma Amundson, Chair of the Board, and will you join me now in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and thank you. And before we begin, I would like to express the condolences of the board to the family of Larry Linneman. His funeral is today at 11 o'clock, and just recently he was awarded the Commissioner Award of Excellence for Employee of the Month. And so our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. Also, I would like to mention too that that police officer Carrie Orozco is her service is also going on today in Omaha, and we always remember that police officers, law enforcement people, put their lives on the line for public safety. And I would just like to make a mention to all of the law enforcement people. Thank you for your service. We appreciate it. So, Mr. Clerk, will you begin the agenda, please?
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff. Material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approve the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, May 19th, 2015.
I move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the last meeting. Any additions or corrections? Please call the roll.
Avery?
Yes.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Welchon?
Abstain.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4 yes, 1 abstention. Number 2 are claims. Approve of all claims processed through May 26, 2015.
Move approval?
Second.
Moved and seconded that the claims be processed, be approved. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Welchon?
Yes.
Avery?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 3 is a special presentation. Recognition of Robin McDaniel for over 17 years of service on the Lincoln-Lancaster County Joint Budget Committee.
Yeah, please come forward. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not that something to read, you want me to read that now?
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Miss Robin, we're going to hear all about you now.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Honor Robin McDaniel for her many years of service to the Lincoln-Lancaster County Joint Budget Committee. As she retires later this week from the United Way, she has chosen to retire as well as a dedicated member of the JBC. Robin has served the United Way for the past 18 years, leading our fund distribution and community impact functions. Her most recent position is Senior Director of Community Impact. She previously was Director of United Way Agencies and was Executive Director of the Lincoln Council on Alcohol and Drugs. Robin was instrumental in helping United Way evolve from an agency to program funding model as well as a community impact organization versus solely a fundraising and distributing entity. She shared knowledge gained during this process with the JBC, assisting local government decision makers in making the most effective use of limited tax dollars. Her representation of United Way at the city and county table has been vital. Robin has been the voice of new ideas, rational decision-making, and sensible solutions in working with the many agencies the JBC serves. She is incredible when it comes to asking the hard questions and awesome when it comes to trying new ideas. Longtime JBC member Deb Shore comments, addressing human services needs and telling agencies no when money isn't available can be difficult. But Robin handles this obligation with class, educating and mentoring agency directors along the way. She has been a dynamic player in our human services safety net. According to Kip Besh, retired Human Services Director for Lancaster County, Robin has a unique ability to see solutions and adds, paperwork was killing us. JBC notebooks filled with funding applications and agency information were 6 inches thick. But with a new paperless system, United Way has provided JBC a more efficient way of distributing information. It has increased transparency in a more timely manner with the agencies we serve. Robin led the development of a new funding process in 2008 that opened up United Way to new partners and to funding innovative programs such as community learning centers, 211, family literacy program, homeless prevention program, and the summer food program. She has a talent for bringing together funding entities to address a specific critical issue. One such example is the Earned Income Tax Credit Program, which returns millions of dollars to low-income families. Brian Walkman, Executive Director of the United Way of Lincoln and Lancaster County, states, "I think it is fair to say that Robin has been one of the most influential human services leaders and champions in Lincoln over the past 25 years. She has worked tirelessly for the benefit of thousands of our citizens in need, as well as provided untold numbers of kids with a better chance of succeeding in life. She has been through many cycles of development of a community needs assessment in Lincoln and Lancaster County. Most recently, Robin has been a key player in the Vital Signs and Prosper Lincoln initiatives, which have harnessed a successful new method of engagement in solving critical issues. She will continue her community service as a consultant with the Lincoln Community Foundation. Robin has worked with dozens of city council and county board members, as well as several Lincoln mayors throughout her tenure on JBC. The number of agencies she has impacted numbers in the hundreds, and numbers of volunteers she has inspired numbers in the thousands. We take time today to say thank you for your commitment to those in need and for the many ways you work to improve the quality of the quality of life in Lancaster County, making this the best place to live, work, and raise a family."
Wow, thank you. If I may, I would just really like to say what a privilege it has been to work with the county commissioners and the city council and the mayor's office at the JBC table, how generous it was for you to have us there. And I want you to notice,
Yes.
United Way staff are here and have every intention of keeping that connection solid. So thank you.
Well, we certainly do appreciate everything that you have done. My goodness, you've performed invaluable service.
Thank you so much.
Robin, we just have a copy of the comments made today, and I know that you will continue your service in other capacities, and it's been a joy working with you.
Next is number 4, new business. A resolution in a matter of waiving the bidding requirements of the County Purchasing Act due to an emergency caused by the flooding event on May 6th to the 7th, 2015.
Do we need
I would move approval of the resolution.
second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution in the matter of waiving the bidding requirements due to the emergency
Caused by the flooding.
caused by the flooding. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudgens,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4B is a contract between Graybar Electric Company, Lancaster County, and the City of Lincoln for the annual requirements of telecommunication supplies and accessories. The county will pay for the products and services according to the County of Los Angeles, California contract number MAIS 1540125. The contract is effective upon execution through December 31st, 2015.
Move approval.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this contract between Graybar Electric, Lancaster County, and the City of Lincoln. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudgens.
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4C is an agreement between Norris Public Power District and Lancaster County on behalf of the Lincoln Lancaster County Emergency Management Department for the installation of a utility pole at the Malcolm Water Tower site and the purchase of electrical power as part of the Nebraska Regional Interoperability Network project. The county will contribute $1,530.43 to the construction of the utility pole and pay $25 per month for electrical power.
Okay, and Jim?
Yes, Jim David, Saver, Director, Lincoln Lancaster County Emergency Management. I just wanted to take a minute to give a little background on the NREN project. NREN stands for Nebraska Regional Interoperability Network. And it's a microwave system of communication that the state has been working on for the past few years. There's 8 regions throughout the state, and when the NREN project is complete, it will connect all 8 of those. The focus of it is to connect all the PSAPs, public safety answering points, throughout the state. In Lincoln, Lancaster County, we're very fortunate because the tower system that we already have in place is owned and operated by the City of Lincoln's radio shop. A lot of the smaller counties, they have to go out and find or lease tower space, and in some cases even have to build a brand new tower at a significant expense. So the Malcolm Water Tower, they installed what is called a microwave cabinet there. There's only one utility pole that already had a couple of service lines to it. So in order to connect the system, they need to add an additional pole. But outside of that $1,500 expense and then the $25 a month for electricity, Lancaster County will have no continuing cost to participate in this system, whereas some of the smaller counties are looking at some pretty considerable lease expenses. So I would, those were the comments I had. I'd certainly answer any questions, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on the system.
Well, Jim, we appreciate your working with the locals to hold down the expenses and yet place them in high sightly places that will serve the purposes for this. And so with that explanation and being from Malcolm, I'll move that we accept this motion.
Second.
Move approval.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept this agreement.
I'm glad you're the expert, because I'm closing my eyes and picturing a microwave cabinet on the top of the Malcolm Water Tower, and I don't think I have the right visual in place,
On the
but.
side of it.
More of it, yes, the cabinet is actually mounted on the ground. It's sealed in a stainless steel cabinet to protect it from the elements. The only thing that is mounted is the tower, or excuse me, the dish. And depending on the sight lines, the distance that they need to go from point A to point B, some of these dishes are as small as a foot to 2 feet in diameter. Others are as large as 6 feet. But again, and that's why they do the research. The Malcolm Water Tower is an excellent reference point that gives us that line of sight coverage in the area. And again, we have no ongoing expense because, again, the tower system that we use is already owned and operated by the city.
Well, Deb, I'm glad you asked that question, because I didn't have any real picture either.
I would
Okay.
certainly like to learn how to get a $25 a month
Electric bill.
Yes, Larry?
I will take a stab at that. Norris Public Power is the rural supplier of most west of Lincoln and south of Lincoln and pretty much the northwest. And they've been very responsive to issues like this. We had an accident-prone intersection on the Agnew Road and Highway 79 and for many, many years. And particularly in foggy conditions in the spring and the winter, there'd be rear-enders there. And when Carol was state senator, she went to Don Thomas, and he said he had no jurisdiction and couldn't spend any money for that. But Norris, for years now, has contributed the electricity for that intersection so that it could be a safety. And to my knowledge, I don't think we've had an accident there since they lighted that. So, been very responsive.
Always good to hear.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this agreement. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudgens. Yes. Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. D is utility permit number 1284 for Unite Private Networks to perform telecommunication cable installation in the areas of Branch Oak Road and Highway 77 and Arbor Road and North 40th Street.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ken Trotter with the County Engineer's Office. I just wanted to point out that even though we received these applications for these 9 permits the end of last month, we kind of struggled with getting some plan revision notes put in. They were originally submitted with the option to go over the top of drainage structures, and we got that all taken care of and added some notes to assure that we'll get our depths that we want. And also to coordinate it with some of the projects like the one in South 54th Street, that future grading project, so.
Okay. Larry?
I want to compliment the county engineer's office for doing their due diligence on this. Before, sometimes when we have communication cables laid, they weren't always in the right spot, and they weren't to the proper depth, and then when we go to do maintenance or replace those culverts, we run into a lot of extra expense. So the last several years, I know you and your office have watched this diligently, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Move approval.
Second?
Been moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1284. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. E is utility permit number 1285 for Unite Private Networks to perform telecommunication cable installation in the area of Northwest 84th Street and West Holdridge Street.
Move approval?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1285. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4F is utility permit number 1286 for Unite Private Networks to perform telecommunication cable installation in the areas of West Denton Road, Southwest 31st Street, and South Coddington Avenue. South Coddington Avenue, West Denton Road, and Old Cheney Road, Old Cheney Road, Southwest 12th Street, and South Folsom Street, and South Folsom Street, West Pleasant Hill Road, and West Pioneer Boulevard.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1286. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. G is utility permit number 1287 for Unite Private Networks to perform telecommunication cable installation in areas of Southwest 2nd Street, Highway 33 and Woodstock Road and Southwest 2nd Street, Panama Road, Highway 77 and South 38th Street, Panama Road and Stagecoach Road, South 38th Street and South 54th Street, South 54th Street, Stagecoach Road and Hickman Road and South 54th Street, and South 82nd Street, and South 82nd Street and Hickman Road.
Move approval?
Second?
Moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1287. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4H is utility permit number 1288 for Unite Private Networks to perform telecommunication cable installation in the areas of South 82nd Street, Bennett Road, and Saltillo Road.
Move approval?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1288. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. I is utility permit number 1289 for Unite Private Networks to perform telecommunication cable installation in areas of Stagecoach Road and South 162nd Street, Bennett Road, 162nd Street to 176th Street, from Bennett Road to Saltillo Road, and Saltillo Road from 176th Street to G Road.
Move approval.
Second?
Moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1289. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. J is utility permit number 1290 for Unite Private Networks to perform telecommunication cable installation in areas of Northwest 105th Street and West Bluff Road.
Move approval?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1290. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4K is utility permit number 1291 for Unite Private Networks to perform telecommunication cable installation in the areas of West Holdridge Street from Northwest 126th Street to Northwest 84th Street.
Move approval?
Second?
Moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1291. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. L is utility permit number 1292 for Unite Private Networks to perform telecommunication cable installation in the areas of Yankee Hill Road, 120th Street, and 148th Street.
Move approval?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve utility permit number 1292. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. M is an amendment to County Contract C-15-202 with Gannett Trucking and Excavating for excavating and dozing services for Lancaster County. The amendment increases the county's maximum expenditures to $60,000 for the remainder of the current term.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve this amendment. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. N is amendment to County Contract C-13-269 with Branch Banking and Trust Company for electronic payment services for the Lancaster County Treasurer. The amendment renews the agreement for an additional one-year term from June 18th, 2015 to June 17th, 2016.
I move approval?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve this amendment. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 5 is consent items. Receive and place on file an amendment to County Contract C-15-202 between Lancaster County and Gannett Trucking and Excavating to include the repair of county bridges T-171 and N-19, which were damaged during the flooding on May 6th through the 7th, 2015, at a total cost not to exceed $30,000. Setting of public hearings on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015 at 10:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding the following. Amusement license application for NRG Media LLC to hold a music concert on August 7th, 2015 at Blue Stem Tree Farm LLC, 5895 West Sprague Road, Crete, Nebraska. Amusement license application for Abbott Motocross to hold a Mud Jam Festival on June 27th, 2015 at 8033 Arbor Road, Lincoln, Nebraska. Receive and place on file the Lancaster County Sheriff's Report for April 2015.
Move approval of the consent items.
Second?
Moved and seconded that we approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 6 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on agenda may do so at this time.
Gary, I noticed that you give blood quite a few times.
You.
Yeah.
Gary Aldridge, Lincoln, Nebraska. Wayne, Central City, Dodge, Arlington, Pius. None large, population-wise, all with big accomplishments. Utan, Curtis, Imperial, Norris. I'll come back to that. For my time on microphone, I speak to a point of personal pride. Most schools have by now finished or will soon finish the academic year. For some, there is a ceremonial recognition or rite of passage for this station in life. This end of academics overlaps, for some, an end to certain athletics. There was competition at state level in track and field, tennis, baseball. If I overlook or omit any sport, it is unintentional. I have a dog in this fight. Realize that is a figure of speech. Our oldest grandson, for my wife and I, keep in mind at most times my wife did most of the heavy lifting, plays baseball at for Pius X, or Pius 10, or Pius Thunderbolts, or just Bolts. Pius is Class B baseball. The B-State playoffs were in Lincoln at Haymarket Park and or Sherman Field. Thursday last in the championship game, Pius played Norris. Pius won 6-3. In a recent Class B championship, Pius and Norris have a history. 2012, Pius 2, Norris 1. 2013, Norris 3, Pius 2. 2014, Pius beat Scott, an Omaha team. Pius v. Norris has been the championship game in 3 of the last 4 years. Alas, I am told Pius will move to Class A baseball next school year. Both Pius and Norris have a position or footprint or location in Lancaster County. For Pius, that is obvious. Norris, a rural district, spills, I think, into 3 counties. For Norris, the largest district area is in south central Lancaster County, Nebraska. So, as some may say, Lancaster County also had a dog in this fight. The board cannot and should not express a preference. As individuals, you may cheer for any competitor or no competitor in the county. The board should now consider an appropriate recognition for both Pius and Norris, an action where the Lancaster County Board speaks for Lancaster County citizens to Lancaster County athletes, coaches, parents. Congratulation or recognition by a public board, body, or commission is not unusual. Mr. Avery can perhaps share any number of stories about the Unicam congratulating a person or group. And the board is always recognizing or congratulating county employees. Both teams, players, coaches, parents, in competition, where on any given day one wins and one does not, but each give a best effort, are an asset to Lancaster County. And with age comes wisdom, I hope. We realize you only go this way once. This is an opportunity for Lancaster County citizens, through appropriate action by this board, to tell Pius and Norris, you did good. My reference to UTAN, Curtis, Imperial, Pius, Norris, etc., small schools with big hearts, big accomplishments, all listed in the category of either most times in finals or most state championships. Small at times is just okay.
Well, thank you, Gary. And indeed, the students who do participate in these athletic events are certainly to be recognized and congratulated for their accomplishments.
Next is number 7, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will tour the Abbott Motocross Park, 8033 Arbor Road, Lincoln, on Tuesday, May 26, 2015 at 1 p.m. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, May 28, 2015 at 8:30 a.m. in the Bill Luxford studio of the County City Building. The County Board of Commissioners will hold their next regular meeting on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015 at 10:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building, with the Board of Equalization immediately following. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live. It is rebroadcast on Tuesday and Saturday on 5 City TV, cable channel 5. In addition, the meeting may be viewed on the internet at lancaster.ne.gov under 5 City TV, video on demand, or 5 City TV on YouTube.
Move we adjourn.
Second?
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, the Board of Commissioners meeting is adjourned. Let's move on now to the Board of Equalization.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Also in attendance this morning is Scott Gaines from the county assessor's office. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, May 19th, 2015.
Move
Approval.
second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting from last week. Any additions or corrections? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Abstain.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4 yes, 1 abstention. Number 2 are additions and deductions of the tax assessment rolls.
The additions and deductions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls. Larry?
I would like to have a couple of questions if Connie from the assessor's office could come up, or Scott, either one. We seem to have a lot of additions or deductions.
Primarily.
Just exactly who is Progress for People LLC? Is that the Housing Authority?
They're the owner of the property, and it's a Turk decision. I don't have any idea who the organization
Well, we
is.
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 20 of these. One of them is very large. It's a $673,200 reduction. Can you tell us what that's about? And
These are all Turk settlements. Richard may have information regarding that entity. I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, Richard Grabo, Deputy Lancaster County Attorney. Progress for People is a entity that does low-income housing under Section 42. I could get into it in a lot more detail, but I think it would probably bore you. Essentially,
I don't think so. I think we'd like to hear why.
there's a Nebraska state statute that kind of governs how we evaluate, or excuse me, how we assess those properties. We have had at least one case in the last year where we kind of took our approach to the Tax Equalization Review Commission on how we thought these properties should be assessed. It was very apparent that they didn't agree with us, and because of that and because of the regulations, we are having to settle a lot of these cases, and this is kind of the first you're going to see of them. And yes, there are going to be some large reductions. That's what the property owners believed it was worth. We made our pitch. It didn't look like it was going to be successful continuing to fight that battle with the Tax Equalization Review Commission. That's why we're starting to see some of these settlements. Progress for People, I believe, has a scattered site approach. That's why you're going to see a lot of different parcels for them.
So there are 2 years worth of these, 2012s and 2013s, it appears.
There might even be 3. I'm thinking this was 2012, 2013, and 2014.
Okay. And so were taxes collected, or were they assessed and not collected, or are we going to have to pay these back?
I can't say off the top of my head. I don't know. If
These are
Scott knows.
valuation adjustments. The tax consequence, I don't have any idea if the taxes had been paid, but they'll be refunded or credited, whatever is appropriate.
So the taxes on these properties for 3 years will probably have to go back and refund.
If they're owed those amounts, yes.
Well,
The tax amounts will be adjusted, whether it's a credit or a refund.
yeah. So it took 3 years to get an answer out of Turk as to whether the county assessor's office was right or wrong on this.
It took 3 years to reach a determination, yes.
That's pretty hard for counties to operate under a system like that. It puts a lot of strain on us.
I can't disagree with that, but that's the system as it is today. So obviously that's a matter for the legislature to address.
Bill?
This is a big hit,
Yeah, it is a huge hit.
and I'm concerned about that, frankly, because, you know, we're not unlimited in our resources,
Understood.
and we depend heavily on property taxes.
Well, and Scott is very familiar with some of the legislative activities related to these properties. I think there was a bill this year. There's been a difference of opinion, I think is the best way to put it, out there as to how these properties should be valued, and it doesn't seem that right now the county's approach to it is the one that's favored by the Tax Equalization Review Commission.
And these are not 501c3s?
In some cases they might be, but they're being financed under Section 42, which is, I believe, an Internal Revenue Code provision that allows them to receive tax credits when they construct these properties, and it's just a matter of how you factor in those tax credits into their income. And there's a lot of debate about it. We've made our pitch. I think, made a very good pitch for it, but it's not. Our approach is not being accepted by Turk when we go there, and so we're having to kind of accept that and move on.
Todd?
I believe these properties are financed through the Nebraska Investment Financing Authority.
That's right.
And the other, they're the tax credits through affordable housing.
Right.
And so I think this is something that Bill and Larry are right. I think it's something we may need to investigate and maybe look at a legislative solution that we propose to the legislature.
There has been a legislative solution, if you will, crafted in this session, so going forward, the attempt was to provide some clarity on how these would be valued uniformly statewide.
The reason we're so, can I
Go
speak?
ahead, yes.
The reason we're so concerned about it is that a lot of people are concerned about their property taxes, and Nebraska is a high property tax state compared to the 7 states around us. And anytime somebody gets an exclusion off their property like this, it just passes the burden. The burden doesn't go away, it just has to be spread over fewer people. And all of us have to pay taxes on our houses. It's kind of a wonder. So we do appreciate the county attorney trying to bring forth our case before the state. But here's another case of kind of an unfunded state mandate. The state says you will not collect property taxes on it, but yet you will provide services.
And they are being taxed. It's a matter of how we view that their value should be higher than it is, or than they believe it is. And we're just at a disagreement, and that's what the Tax Equalization Review Commission is. I'd love to win all of them there, but we don't always win them all. And this is going to be one of those times where we've made our best effort to try and reach a resolution that is in the benefit of the county, but the Review Commission has thought otherwise, as they have in the past.
And again, just to be clear, this is not an exemption. These are valuation adjustments. It's not a complete exemption.
The one that's 600, that just the one property itself is $673,000. Was that an apartment house or something? I mean, that's.
I cannot speak to what the exact property was. It can easily be ascertained here off the record, but I can't as I stand up in front of you.
I think just, for my own personal purposes, I think I will come over the county assessor's office and see what it is, but that's a huge reduction on one property.
And Bill?
Thank you. Scott, you mentioned legislation this session.
Yes.
Do you know where that legislation is? What happened to it?
It's been approved and signed by the governor, be effective next year.
And it will be effective in 90 days. 2016.
The 2016 tax year that starts January 1, 2016.
What was
And this is a fix?
It's to provide some consistency on, like Richard talked about, the credits, and I'm not the appraisal guy to speak intelligently on this, but on what should and shouldn't be considered in the income stream on these properties.
What was the legislative bill number?
I don't have that off the top of my head, Roma. I can get you that after.
Okay, I'd like that.
It's for statute 771333.
That's the statute that, I can get you the bill number. And
Yeah.
We'd
That'd be good.
appreciate it.
We'd appreciate that.
It passed relatively early in the session, so.
Did your office advise us on it so that we could help with our lobbyist or anything? Or did your office?
Not to my knowledge. We did have some discussion as the bill was being drafted, yes.
Thank you.
And NACO was heavily involved, and so NACO came to some of the counties that were more affected than others, and we did work on some conference calls with the parties involved.
In your mind, does your office feel that the legislation fixes the situation?
You know, Larry, I don't do the appraisal side of the office. I'm not able to give you a real good answer to whether we think it's a great.
At least it gives us some uniformity.
Yeah, I think it provides direction.
Thank you.
We're not picking on you, Scott.
No,
It's
not a
just that
problem.
No, we just want to get to the bottom.
This is an unusual list with unusual numbers.
Yeah, and the fact that Turk takes 3 years to come to a decision just makes it all hit us at once.
Yeah, ideal.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the additions and deductions. Any further discussion?
I do have, I think, clarification for
Okay.
Larry's question. It is a condominium multifamily on 4545 North 18th Street.
Here, if you
North
click on
18th.
that one, get images.
So,
Just a minute. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
anyway,
it's
it's
close enough, yeah.
multi-unit condominium.
Mhm.
Okay. So North 18th Street,
yes.
That's a bit superior.
4545, okay, that's up
In
by
Superior.
Yeah, just
No.
about.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Any, let's call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 3 is a public hearing, motor vehicle tax exemption applications for Calvary Cemetery, Christ United Methodist Church, Family Service Association of Lincoln, Radiant Church, and Union College.
Okay, this is a public hearing, and so on these motor vehicle tax exemption applications, is there anyone to speak in favor of these exemption applications? Anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone in a neutral position? Okay, we'll close the public hearing.
Move approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the motor vehicle tax exemption applications. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudgens.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 4 are property tax exemption applications for the Bridge Behavioral Health, Inc., Bryan Physician Network, the Cat House, Christ Lutheran Church, First Free Methodist Church of Lincoln, Girl Scouts Spirit of Nebraska, Grace Lutheran Church, Walton, Great Plains Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church, Harris Fraley VFW Post 131, Heartland Bible Church, IBEW Local Union Number 265 Building Corporation, Kansas-Nebraska Association of Seventh-day Adventists, Lincoln Christian School Association, Lincoln Haymark Development Corporation, Lutheran Family Services, Mid-America District of the Christian and Missionary Alliance, Middle Cross Church, National Arbor Day Foundation, Neighborhoods, Inc., doing business as NeighborWorks Lincoln, the Physician Network, Pius X High School, Redeemer Lutheran Church, Inc., Sesostris Temple Holding Corporation, the Smith Collection, Southview Christian Church, St. Joseph Institute, and Tabitha, Inc.
Good morning, Scott Gaines, Deputy Assessor, Register of Deeds. I think what I'd like to do is there are 6 of these properties in item 4 that we have a recommendation other than just full approval. I'd like to talk about those 6 individually, and then we can have discussion, and then the motion can maybe be to reflect our recommendation, or if you have a difference of opinion, we can adjust accordingly. Does that sound fair? I'll go through the 6 that are, again, other than just a pure, we recommend 100% exemption. The first one is the Bridge Behavioral Health, Inc., and there's 2 applications, one for their real estate, one for their personal property. This is just a name change. It was formerly known as Cornhusker Place. It had been exempted, and our recommendation is to exempt this to the same extent that it was previously with Cornhusker Place, and that is 100% on the personal property. The real estate is a partial exemption of 98.53%, and that's to reflect a portion of the building that is leased to a private business. That part remains taxable. So that's one. Harris Fraley VFW Post 131. Our recommendation is for approval. However, it was filed late, and we just want to recommend approval with the statutory 1-month late filing penalty. Next one is IBE Local Union 265. This is just changing their current exemption from a partial to a full. They did have a house on this property that was rented privately. They've torn the house down and now utilize that area for the rest of the, as they did the rest of the property. Neighborhoods, Inc. This one, the headquarters, if you will, where they provide their office space and training for their mission. We're recommending approval of that parcel, and that's the parcel located at 2530 Q Street. The remainder of their parcels kind of go into 2 different batches. One is there's 5 properties that they have subsequently sold since they applied. Recommendation is the denial of those properties. We also are recommending denial of the remainder of their properties that they have acquired for development use. So approve the headquarters.
How many there are in that category?
Deb, I did not count them. There's roughly a dozen.
Okay.
But our recommendation would be to approve one of their parcels, and that's the one at 2530Q. That's their headquarters, if you will. Sesostris Temple Holding Corporation, This one, we're recommending approval of, there's two parcels, we're recommending approval for their 2015 applications. They did also submit 2014 applications to us, I believe in December, which was after the filing deadline for 2014. So we're recommending approval of the two that were timely filed for 2015. We're recommending denial for the two that were out of time when they were received for 2014. The final one is the St. Joseph Institute. 1/3 of this warehouse is used for their distribution of property to needy families. The remaining 2/3 is used for the thrift store. So it's they've requested a 1/3 exemption on this property. We're recommending 1/3 exemption for the needy distribution portion of that building. With that, I'll entertain any questions. And again, if I did not discuss those properties specifically, our recommendation is for 100% approval.
Just a question, not specifically related to any of these, but it may be. If a church would start up a radio station in conjunction with, well, most likely Christian ministries, would that be a change in their exemption?
If it was a religious mission for that radio network, I would think hypothetically that would be still a religious use of that property, yes.
Even if they sold advertising?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, Bill?
I move approval with the alterations recommended by the assessor's office.
Second. And Todd, you had a point.
Yeah, going back to the Neighborhoods Inc. So, did they request an exemption application for all the properties, including the ones that were under development?
Yes.
And so, did we communicate with them that we were recommending that we would deny their request?
The decision that's made today, I mean, the decision is, or our recommendation is out there. We don't send out the recommendation. We send out the notice that I think the clerk's notice says that the assessor's recommendation is on file or available or something like that.
Okay.
So are they aware that our recommendation is no? I don't know if they've specifically, a lot of these organizations, when they get the letter, they'll call the office and ask for our office's recommendation. I didn't personally talk to anyone from Neighborhood Inc. on this.
Okay. Well, yeah, that.
They may or may not have called.
Okay, thank you.
Followed up on that, if I may. So they're purchasing these properties, these blighted properties, and bring them up to par and then resell them has been their mode of operation?
To the best of my knowledge, and they gave us very, very, very limited information on their application, and it says, and I quote, redevelopment to be sold at a later time. And that's all we got on any of their apps, other than their headquarters building. And again, some of them have already sold, as they indicated they plan to.
And they don't have any special protection from the legislature on doing this mission or anything, as far as your office knows?
Correct.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to any of these issues? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this list of tax exemption applications with the alterations as suggested by Scott. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 5 is a proposed change in exemption status for Central Church of the Christian and Missionary Alliance, Foundation for Lincoln Public Schools, and Pillar Charitable Trust.
Recommendation on all three of these is that the exemptions be removed. All three of these properties have sold to other entities, and so they do not meet the statutory requirement to own the property.
Move approval of the assessor's recommendation.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we do the change in the exemption status for these three properties. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 6 is reaffirmation of tax exemption applications for Planned Parenthood of the Heartland, Redeemer PCA, and UNF Investments LLC.
Similar to the properties in item 5, these are properties that we want to bring to the board's attention and consider a new recommendation based on a change of circumstance. Rather than change of ownership, these properties all have been undergone a change of use. So our recommendation is for denial, as I'll indicate here. Planned Parenthood of the Heartland is a property on South Street that they no longer use for their purposes. It's currently vacant and held for sale. The Redeemer PCA is a house, I believe it's at 9th and Charleston, adjacent to the church there. This house was previously used by ordained staff of the church as the residence and incorporated church activities, et cetera, on that property. The church brought to our attention they now are having new tenants in that property. The tenants are not ordained staff of the church. I think they may be members. They don't charge them rent. They're expected to do upkeep on the property, but they're employed elsewhere, and the degree of church involvement in that property has changed so that it's not incorporated in the mission of the church. It's more of a rental property. So our recommendation is to put that portion of this parcel back on the tax roll. I just want to make it clear, recommendation is for the house and the church set on the same parcel. We're recommending taxing the house, remaining to exempt the church itself. The final one is UNF Investments. This is the property at 27th and Van Dorn that the University Foundation purchased for the new president's residence, and they've since changed their plans. This property, again, is vacant and held for sale, so it will go back on the tax roll. And in this case, I do know they did contact us, and they're in agreement with the recommendation since it is not used by the university.
I move we institute the assessor's recommendation regarding reaffirmation of tax exemptions.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we work, how did you say?
Affirm the assessor's
That we affirm
recommendation.
the assessment, the assessor's recommendation. So, any further discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 7 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to County Board of Equalization business not on agenda may do so at this time.
Okay, we have a visitor out in the audience. Can you tell us who you are?
Hi, I am Reverend Lori Kitzing. I'm the pastor at Grace Lutheran in Walton. So
Oh, okay.
one on the big list seemed to be going smoothly. So thank you very much.
Okay.
And I'm very happy to learn what goes on here.
Okay.
Thank you for visiting.
Thank you for coming. Uh-huh. Okay.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. Please call the roll.
Hudkins. Hudkins.
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson. Motion carries 5-0.
What you said to start.